Hello, everyone, and welcome back, Proterra community. Let's talk about these Q2 earnings results. I wanted to give you some of my thoughts on how the call went and what can we expect out of these next two quarters and out of the Proterra leadership team. Now, we are in a market that is less enthusiastic about growth companies. That was the opening line. Now, let's take a look at these operating metrics. Last quarter, this was the turnaround period. Can we turn around? Oh my gosh, how bad was it? I didn't expect it to be this bad. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be good, but not that bad. Only 40 buses were produced, and it didn't look like we moved up that much in Proterra power, but it was highlighted as almost doubling, almost. Now, 52 vehicles this quarter, it's not the best we've ever done. You know, Q4, it looks like we might be able to pull out 54. I don't know that we've ever done more than 54 buses in a Q4. So it'll be dependent on how we do there. The revenue for the buses is still very relevant. Now, we've got a look at our financials, 58 million for the first quarter. For the second quarter, 74 million. And if you add those two totals together, you get 132. And if you subtract it by the guidance, what Gareth said we would accomplish at the end of this year, let's take a look at what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be $439 million this year. He revised that guidance from 439 to 300 and 325 between that window. Now, this isn't anything new. He told us this last quarter. That's why we've seen such a dramatic pullback on the price, because we aren't doing the second shifts. So you get the price for under $5, right? That's what happened. That's the last video I did. And now, can we accomplish between 300 and 325 million before the end of this year? I mean, that would be 84 million. Let's take a look at what Yahoo has estimated for us. On the high end, 83 million and 95 million. Is that going to get us over the line? I mean, that seems pretty ambitious considering the type of, roadblocks it seems that Proterra is still encompassing. So not only that, but in the call they talked about Nikola's plan to acquire Romeo Power, a struggling battery maker, meaning that a major supplier that were a major company that we would be giving batteries to may no longer, they might be doing their own thing. And how many other companies are going to try and manufacture their own battery technology? Does this make sense? Is this the way forward? Or will they need secondary suppliers? And that's what Proterra is doubling down on. Matter of fact, they talked about in their financials how they are setting aside $10 million specifically just for that. And I wanted to talk about inventory because inventory numbers are climbing. You can see 149 million. And the last three times they did write-offs, those write-offs seem to be getting bigger on the inventory front. And that's not good. Their inventory management needs to get stronger. So we've got revenue here. If we go to the balance sheet, they really need to focus on inventory. And there's something that I want you to see, that not only is it climbing from 99 all the way to 149, and pay attention to those write-offs like I was talking about, but finished goods here. Finished goods means they could have delivered this number supposedly, but they're pushing it to the next quarter, maybe to help influence those financials. So we've got 25 million, it looks like, that we're ready to give to a customer as long as the customer's ready to pay us for it. Now, how they cushion these quarters to make sure that they pull things in so they can meet those objectives, it looks like that in the finished goods section, they do have 25 off the bat. They've got raw materials, $85 million in a work in progress. They've got $31 million worth of bus materials that look like they're sitting around just waiting on wiring harness or whatever the shortage is. Now, I know they're going to work through this, and the lead times from the sales start of the vehicle to actually going through the Altoona testing, getting it certified, and the customer accepting it, that's the revenue collection point. I think there's so many variables that this company can't predict that they can't tell you with absolute certainty if they're going to be able to hit 300 to 325 million. I'm not comfortable with that. And I would say that if you're invested in this, this year is still going to be a year of volatility for the stock. Now, that's just my thoughts, but let's talk about a few other things. There's supposed to be a catalyst $800 million federal loan program this month. There's supposed to be an announcement. 250 to 500 million bus funding in October. So there could be some announcements that help to generate some enthusiasm with the CPI numbers coming out, with also growth companies maybe getting a little bit more excited. I thought that public sector, that these vehicles, transforming the public sector and the government using funding to help do this, I thought that this would be a safe area to invest in this year. I mean, maybe this is just an opportunity to really get the best cost average, because next year they should be able to ramp up production. Hopefully, as demand starts to slow, I don't think that their demand is slowing. The public sector still needs to transform. Now, can they keep up with their services department? And if you take a look at their financials, they only had about $7,000 or $8,000 dedicated this quarter towards spare parts and whatnot. So I'm not sure how they're keeping up with all of these buses in the field. But in the community tab, I did do a video where there's some very interesting comments of a bus driver that was talking about a Proterra vehicle that he was never trained on. And there was lots of comments underneath that vehicle that were very interesting. If you have not seen that video on the community tab, I would definitely go and check it out. Now, I've got a bull case and a bear case for Proterra. Manufacturing expansion, hiring. They didn't have to fire anybody. They might be able to hire some people for Greer. That's the bull case there. Operations in Europe, European Union, Canada, UK, Australia, Japan, and Turkey. They do have an international footprint. Do they do anything to expand that? Is there going to be demand as we start to get a little bit more crunched on resources when it comes to batteries? I don't know. Yeah, but maybe there's a future for them internationally also. Maybe that grows a little more. Debt appears to be decreasing from what I can see. The Greer facility will increase capacity. I hope they can pull that in, maybe give a surprise, and be ready to do that in Q4. Nikola contract, that dual supplier, I mean, they still have it, and this gives them an opportunity to really look at their operations and maybe make investments outside of just batteries that have good margins. Higher inventory, I would say you want to watch that. That's definitely not in the bull case unless you're saying higher inventory is going to enable us to really knock it out of the park in Q3, Q4. They're getting more materials because it looks like they're going to be able to alleviate some of these solutions. But are they mismanaging some of these buses, the parts that they have, or they're keeping for buses that they no longer plan on delivering to customers? Could be an inventory nightmare, mismanagement. Continue to watch those inventory numbers. Now, the bear case, single source suppliers, they're still working on this, and it didn't sound like they had a fantastic plan to really overcome this, or when they were going to be able to overcome it. Like, is every quarter we're going to hear about part shortages, and this is just going to be a common thing that it's always going to take forever to build a bus? I would like to hear that it was 12 to 14 months to build a bus, and now it only takes us 8 to 9 months to build a bus. So, I'm just not hearing that innovation. Key components, they need to be able to focus on the investments for key components. Inventory write-offs, be sure to check those out. Construction in progress, right? So when they're building the facility, there's going to be higher operational costs, which is also going to pull down on their numbers. So will they, at the end of the day, be able to still accomplish what they're trying to accomplish? R&D spend, $15 million. Continuing to invest in portfolio. I mean, is this enough to be an innovative company with autonomous driving and everything that might come into this public sector? Will they be a dinosaur as someone comes in and takes over? Or are they making those investments? I know that they hired some people on the board, like with an IBM background. Hopefully we'll see something innovative come out of the company, but right now I'm not seeing it. Qualifying these suppliers, we want to hear about this. I just don't want to see them on their Twitter feed taking pictures at this conference and this conference and this conference. I want to see the technology. I want to see the process improvement. I want to see huddles of the engineers getting together. I want to see buses getting tore down and simplified. I want to see coordinations with cities for big contracts. I want to see more leadership from Proterra. That's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do, and I'll see you in the next one.